We're going to keep the conversation going about NBA free agency and everybody wondering what on earth are the Bucks doing. As Brad has said several times today, they are absolutely desperate to keep Giannis, but decide to make a very weird decision in waiving, Dame Lillard and getting Miles Turner here, which Brad, from what I have gathered, listening to you over the course of the day, was not the move in order to make Giannis. So point blank, should Giannis demand a trade?
Well, I can't get into somebody's head and get into the factors that they're prioritizing. So any of us, if we were switching jobs, and we would think about where we wanted to live and where we wanted to work. And if Giannis wants to stay with the same franchise for his entire career, and he values living in Milwaukee and he has relationships there, then I can't speak to that. But if it's purely through a basketball prism, get on out. I mean, there's just no chance. This Miles Turner thing made a bad situation worse. They are going to be extremely crippled moving forward, paying Damian Lillard $22.5 million for the next 5 years for a guy who's not even on your team. We're doing all these segments about all these teams having to pinch every single penny they can to get below luxury tax lines and salary cap lines, and they're going to be paying $22.5 million to a player who's not even playing there. And then Miles Turner's getting $25 million a year on top of that. They got no more plays. If Giannis, and this is an if, I can't speak to this, but if winning a championship or competing realistically for a championship is his top priority, Milwaukee is not the place to do it.
All right, Ashley, so in Brad's mind, Giannis has two ideas. It is, do I play with one franchise for my entire career, or do I go win? Do you think he should demand a trade?
I agree with Brad completely. I do think that he should demand a trade. I do think that the situation in Milwaukee, getting Miles Turner and keeping a bunch of the guys who were there last season, I do think that this may have prolonged the inevitable. And Brad and I disagree on that, but I genuinely think that Giannis will go into this season as a Milwaukee Buck. Now, what happens throughout the course of the season, I think, is where things get interesting. I think that it could be trade deadline. Maybe it's the end of this upcoming season. Maybe he sees his entire contract through. But I am, without a shadow of a doubt, I believe, unless something miraculous happens and LeBron James brings his talents to Milwaukee, I have a very hard time believing somebody in the prime of their career, somebody who is constantly in MVP conversation, somebody who can bring a championship to another city with the pieces necessary to do so, would continue to waste their time in a dead-end situation. And I will give the Bucks this credit. They have tried everything they can to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound when it comes to keeping Giannis satisfied after winning the championship. They have tried every single thing that they can do, from roster changes to front office changes to coaching changes. So this is not an organization that isn't trying. They are very much going to couples therapy and saying, honey, don't leave me. I'll be better. I promise. Just please don't leave. And he keeps saying it. It's just enough to keep him there. But I think eventually the writing is on the wall, and I don't see how a competitor of his caliber can look at this team and say, yeah, I can win here.
He's
it's
in
just
couples
not
therapy on Tinder right now. He's already out.
You can't use your phone in couples therapy.
He's already out.
To see who's going to be swiping left and right. First of all, wait, which is the right way? What is it?
It's this way.
Swiping right's good.
Yeah, swiping right means you matched, and then swiping left means
a lot of teams be swiping right on Giannis.
Yeah. Yeah, think about it this way. Swipe, swipe, swipe.
Left.
Yeah.
That's left.
Oh, so then left. Swipe left?
No.
Okay.
I think
swipe
left,
right.
You're getting rid of him.
As you can see, none of us are on dating apps.
Look at us. Okay, so let's swipe on some teams. Ashley, you get to be the swiper, which I think is also a kid's show. Something swipe, swipe, swipe. Brad, I don't know if you've remembered this, because our producer asked you to put together 3 trade deals. We're going to start with the Warriors. I've not seen this. I don't know how the trade goes down, so let's take a look at it.
I'm going to propose these trades to Ashley.
She's going to swipe right or left.
Exactly. Now, understand that there are some mechanics here. This would be the core of the trade. You know, Jonathan Kuminga, for instance, hasn't exactly signed with the Warriors yet, so we don't know what his value would be worth. There's a lot of CBA mechanisms that would come into play. But if this were the core of a trade, and the Bucks came to the Warriors right now and they said, we'll give you Giannis Antetokounmpo for Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, and 3 first-round picks.
Not too shabby.
Who says no?
Draymond Green. He's the wild card. Here's the thing. I think this is a great trade, and
For who?
For the Warriors.
Okay, so the Warriors say yes to this trade.
I think the Bucks would even say yes to a trade like this. Draymond Green for me is
on both sides.
I think Draymond Green is the wild card here. I believe
he doesn't get a say.
Hold on a second. I believe Draymond at this stage in his career, remember, he keeps talking about the end is near. The end is near. Draymond would retire before he went to Milwaukee.
Oh,
and then,
he's got some money doodling.
And then that changes the entire landscape.
Dudes don't give up money. So let's throw that part out.
Take that out?
So let's say, yeah.
Oh,
so you think both sides say yes to this?
Both parties say yes
So
to this.
if you're the Warriors, you're willing to give up a franchise stalwart in Draymond Green, perhaps a future building block in Kuminga and
Giannis?
okay, so I agree with you.
Then you're in win now mode.
I agree with you, but you're basically saying because Green's out the door, you're depleting a lot of your depth and your future flexibility. So you're saying in 2 years with Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, and Giannis.
You're talking about Giannis, who's an offensive power, is a defensive power.
With Steph and
Pairing him
Jimmy.
with Steph and Jimmy, Draymond, it's been real. We appreciate you. We'll put your jersey in the rafters, homeboy.
So it's a yes on both sides.
Yes on both sides.
Okay. Next one.
So
next
we
one.
get a match.
Next
It's like
one.
when it lights up, you have a match.
Yeah, that's like the premium account.
You may now talk to one another.
Premium account.
The next dating profile we have here is the Rockets. What does this look like, Brad?
Okay, so the Rockets have already been very busy with Kevin Durant. If they were to get Giannis, I think Adam Silver might have to step in. But, okay, so the Rockets receive Giannis. The Bucks receive Şengün, Van Vliet. That makes the salary go. But here's the key here. Amen Thompson and 3 first-round picks. It's a massive package. Who says no?
Well, who's proposing this trade in this scenario? Are the Rockets proposing or the Bucks?
The Bucks go to the Rockets and they say, here's what we want for Giannis.
I think the Rockets say no.
The Rockets say no. Why? What holds you up about that?
And so many people are already, you guys have just been praising the Rockets throughout the day today.
I think the Rockets say no because although Giannis is... Everybody knows, yes, Giannis is Giannis. Here's the thing. You have to remember they were able to get Kevin Durant in a very low-risk situation. And the thing
this would be mortgaging a lot.
This would be mortgaging a lot. And the thing that we were all apprehensive about when it came to the Kevin Durant situation was how much of your future would you have to give up to get Kevin Durant. And the fact that they were able to walk away with only giving up 2 players, a draft pick, and then 5 second-round draft picks, I believe, is a steal for Kevin Durant. Now you're talking about digging even deeper into your future to get a player like Giannis, who, yes, is younger than Kevin Durant, and he'll be part of the team longer, but you also then run into the situation of, well, who's he going to play with? What makes the Houston Rockets so lethal is not just now a Kevin Durant, it's everybody around them, and you lose a chunk of that.
Losing Thompson.
Losing Thompson's a big deal.
Can we put that graphic back up? Because I'd be curious if we went back to the negotiating table and we said, okay, that's too much, but if we took Thompson out.
Take Thompson out and
give another salary filler.
I would say take Thompson out and give me one of those picks back.
Okay, so you would do it for Şengün, Van Vliet, 2 picks, no Thompson.
Yes.
So we can. There's something to
You would
negotiate.
say yes if you're the Rockets.
If I am the Rockets.
So Thompson's your hang-up.
Yeah, if the Rockets come to me and say, I will give you Şengün, Fred Van Vliet, or if I'm the Bucks and I present that, yeah, you can't have both Şengün and Thompson.
I agree with you. I think Thompson is the one that tips it over. I'd say no if I'm the. If you get Thompson out of the deal, maybe lessen it down by 2 picks, make the money work still somehow.
Yeah.
I think you have to consider it. It's Giannis. But I do agree with Ashley. You don't want to deplete too much depth and defeat the purpose of what you did to get Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Either way, not necessarily a match right now. There's going to be some negotiating.
What is it on Tender where like it could be a match? Like,
I don't think that exists.
There's no middle ground. It's just right or left.
It's yes or no.
All right, so this is a left.
You should suggest that.
We should create an app,
a maybe column. Yeah,
that's what we need. Maybe.
I think that's just called dating in general. All right, our producer's moving us along. Let's go with the Spurs. This is your final team to create some trades.
Okay, the Spurs. Now, this is one of the original teams that were in the, when the Giannis sweepstakes seemed to be firing up. So, the Spurs get Giannis. They go to the Bucks and they say, we will give you Castle, okay? Rookie of the Year, Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson make the money work. And here's the key. This year's #2 overall pick, Dylan Harper.
Spurs say no.
Spurs say no. Why? What's the biggest hang-up?
Everything the Spurs were excited about right now.
Harper's the hang-up?
Harper, and I think I would probably be willing to say Castle. Or who else was included in that?
You're not worried about Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes.
Yeah. So it's probably Castle and
let's throw that back up just for a quick second.
Because I initially liked Giannis to the Spurs, but this was
look at this,
before
Ashley,
they got Dylan Harper.
Ashley, we're talking about Giannis here.
For sure.
This is not a Miles Turner deal. Dylan Harper's
the
he's
hang-up.
good, but it's Giannis. If there's no additional picks, just this year's number 2.
This is a lot of depth, though.
No, I'm doing this in a heartbeat if I'm the Spurs. Now, if the Bucks come back and say we also want 2 future first-round picks, plus this year's number 2 and Dylan Harper, plus Castle, I might say no. But no future picks, it's Giannis.
I would actually swap this. If we can show that graphic one more time, I would say you can have every player you listed plus picks, but you can't have Harper.
Okay, so maybe you go back and say you can have 2, hell, 3 future picks, but no Harper.
I would give you 3 future picks, all those players mentioned except for Dylan Harper, and we have a deal.
So you love Harper?
I think Dylan Harper has a lot of upside, and you don't trade a player like that, especially when
he say yes to that.
I think they do.
Oh, I don't see why not.
I think if they get 3 picks, so I think the Bucks would say yes to either one of those.
Yeah, take Dylan Harper out of the equation, replace him with 1 or 2 or even 3
But as we put it up, it's a no.
As we put it up, it's a no. But if you wanted to renegotiate that, there's definitely potential in that deal. For sure.
Okay, so we have one match with the Warriors.